I would like to request Dr. Soumya Mishra ma'am to felicitate Dr. Smita Parekh ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
At this workshop, you will learn the value of organ donation and how it could save millions of lives. When a person donates an organ, they voluntarily agree to have it removed and legally transplanted into another person's body, usually with the agreement or the consent of their immediate family. Therefore, why is organ donation so crucial? And why is it a topic of such discussion?
I would request Mr. Rahul Joshi sir to come and share the importance of
Hello, am I audible? Yes, sir. First of all, thanks for the nice introduction and thanks to my friend Captain Nitin for giving me this opportunity. Before I officially start this, I would require 5 volunteers to please come up and answer a few questions to me. Not very personal, just a few questions. I want to make this a very interactive session. Just 5 students, please. It's a business school, you have to come forward. 5. So, thanks to all 5 of you for volunteering this. Who has the mic? Okay. Now everybody please listen. To all 5 of you and for the rest of ones, I just want you 5 of you to answer independently one question. Which of the organ of your body is your favorite and why?
Brain, because I like to think from brain and the most crucial part.
Good evening, sir. My name is Raj, and for me, it's my eyes because the beauty of this world is incomplete without my eyes. For me, it's eyes.
Good evening, sir. My name is Vaibhav Trivedi, and I guess all the parts are very essential. And I would like to use all the parts very specific.
So you cannot select anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, next.
Good evening, sir. I will say that my crucial part is heart.
Not a particular, but yeah, actually my father had kidney transplant, so I think the business or not a favorite one, but yeah.
Don't have this.
If you don't have a brain, you react to the thing. It's very difficult to.
Whatever comes to your mind, just speak it out.
It's very difficult to react to a thing, and how will you make a decision? How will your sensory organs, other organs will work without a brain?
Okay, fine. Next.
If I'm missing out on my eyes, definitely I will miss on seeing many beautiful faces like this, and also many things which only I can see. My brains can sense, but my eyes can make me feel.
So I have selected donated all the organs. So if I don't have all the organs, so I will die probably.
That's a really honest one, I would say.
Basically, the heart is the most important part. So if there is no heart, the heart is not working, the human will not survive.
And talking about kidneys, so it is all about filtration. Without that, person can't live for a long time. All the
Thank you, all five of you. Please have your seat. So thank you to all five of you for helping me on this. The gist of the story was that every single organ of your body is equally important. Everything has a role. There is no part in the body which has no importance. And like it is very difficult for a single person to think of which is his favorite organ. Just think of the person who doesn't have that particular organ in his body, or that particular organ is not performing. That's what happens to a person whose organs are not working. You heard from these kids. One person says he will die, other person says without brain he cannot perform, the other person says without heart there is no life. That's what happens, and that's why the story of my NGO and why I have actually started this with interaction is because of this. Just quick round of my introduction. My wife was suffering from kidney failure and she was on dialysis for 9.5 years. She succumbed to her death last year, and after that I decided that whatever I have learned in 9.5 years, I have to put that to use. I have to make sure that whatever I have learned, I have to create awareness in the field and make people understand the importance of organ donation. Right now, standing here in front of you, I am not asking you to donate anything. I am not asking you to go and fill up any forms on immediate basis. Not asking you to run outside into the market, but understand the importance of organs. Understand that when anybody dies, in your neighbors, in your society, in your relatives, in your family, friends, or any known contact, what is the next step? How his body can be utilized for helping others. That is the level of awareness I am talking about. This session or my NGO is not asking for donations. We are not asking for you to running on the field. This is very clear. This is a very sensitive topic, but this is a life-saving topic. So it is all about happiness. This is not about sadness. In organ donation, you are giving life to someone. And with this, the person lives on. A transplant is something that is really important. I have seen this in my life. And right now the students who have answered this, they have actually given it a thought. I would request others to give it a thought into their mind, that why every organ is important and how this process is done. My job is to create awareness. Awareness for every single person here, that how this can proceed ahead. I'm really thankful that a business school is thinking on this. And this is a very, very important aspect for you to understand about human values, which obviously I believe that it was one of your sessions or could be the session in coming months or weeks. But organ donation is the need of the hour. In today's world, stress is a buzzword. Everybody talks of stress, and you end up discussing blood pressure, sugar, and different diseases, ending up hampering one of your organs. In this particular case, it is very important for you all to understand that why organ donation is important. I will right now hand it over to ma'am, and she will talk more on organ donation and its usages. And finally, in the last, I will give you one concluding statement. Thanks.
Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Smita Parekh. I'm a surgical gastroenterologist, hepatobiliary and liver transplant surgeon. I work at Noble Hospital. Like sir just mentioned that organ transplantation or organ donation is the need of the hour. Does anybody have any idea about the gap that it fills? Just to bring all this into perspective, I will take an example. Liver is not the only organ that can be donated, but I'll give you a perspective taking liver transplant as an example. If you see in India itself, there are about every year, there are about 15,000 patients who register to get liver transplant. These are patients who have end-stage liver disease and require. Actually, the number is said to be way higher, but these are the patients who have that cognizance, who have reached and taken medical attention and have been advised. The true number would be way higher than this. The number of transplants which happen yearly in India are about 1500. That is just 10% of what actually needs to happen. And out of this 1500, not even 20% comes from deceased organ. The rest, more than 80% of what happens, what organ transplantation happens is their near and dear ones agree to donate organs, and that is how they get organs. The rest of the 90% people who we know need organs do not get it because there is not enough awareness or there is not enough availability of deceased organs or brain dead organs, or people are not coming up for organ donation. This is just liver. Similarly, there is need for kidneys, there is pancreas transplant, there is corneal transplant, eyes, intestine. If anybody has looked at an organ donation के लिए जो form होता है, you will see even skin. There are people who donate the entire bodies. I'm not saying that you have to go ahead and do that. I'm just telling you what all can be done. So this is the extent of the need, of the societal need of organs. I can go into the theoretical stuff, but I'm sure that is not interesting to you. So if you guys have questions, I think that would be a great idea to, make it more interactive. If you have questions, I can answer those. Or if you have doubts related to this, then we can go on to that. Any questions?
Just one question. Can a healthy person, for example, can think about donating during their current life when they are hale and hearty?
Okay, so to a relative or just like that? Just like that. That is called altruistic donation. That is not allowed by law in India. That is something, this is all that is being spoken in communities. There are places where this is allowed. There are places where it is allowed in return to a monetary, compensation, but in India it is not allowed.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes.
So my question is that if a person wants to donate an organ, like their family member wishes, so is the process very hectic or it's easy? Like, what are the government policies on that?
Okay, so let's say you are the next of kin to, somebody who's met an accident or who's brain dead basically, and you wish to. So how it works is, to be very frank, it's not a very simple process, but there have been enough improvements. There have been things which are put in place to make this easy. So how it happens is, let's say you have your next of kin or somebody's next of kin, he has had an accident and he has no chance of recovery. In that case, there will be a social worker or a transplant coordinator who actually was supposed to be here, but due to some reasons he couldn't make it. So there's a social worker involved and a transplant coordinator involved. Social worker will meet the family, explain them the possibility of organ transplantation. And if they do agree to it, before the organs are harvested, we need to ascertain that that patient is actually brain dead. For that, there are tests which needs to be done, and they are done at 2 intervals. So a test is done now and it is repeated 6 hours later to ascertain that there is no chance. So brain death basically means that you don't have any cerebral function, so all your muscles, everything is connected to the brain. So if your brain is not working, even if heart does pump for a while, eventually there is no, they can't live. They will not be able to sustain themselves. It is the rest of the machines and supportive mechanism which is letting them breathe, or the heart rate is still there. As soon as you pull them off those supportive mechanisms like ventilators, or if the kidney is failing dialysis, they will die. So that window is used. So 6 hours later, again, this tests are repeated, and this test show that there is no brain function. Then it is declared, the patient is declared brain dead, and then the organ harvesting can happen. But so it looks like a 6-hour window that is needed, but in reality that doesn't happen. Because what you need to understand is that once the organs come out of the body, they can stay outside only for a certain amount of time. So in those 6 hours, not only is, the patient's family just looks at that 6 hours, but logistically, a recipient needs to come to the hospital, get admitted, get worked up, and then needs to be going into the people aren't ready to donate organs. Because let's say, today a news, at certain point the news is broken that, he's no more. You would not want to, a family generally doesn't want to wait for 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours to take their near and dear ones home for one last time. So that is one major fallacy where we are still struggling. But there is a lot of, headway that has already been made. There are grief counselors who are introduced, who talk to the family, make them understand the logistical problems. And yes, in fact, Maharashtra is the only state, I will not include the COVID period, but before the COVID did hit, Maharashtra was the only state in India which was showing any increase in the number of organ donations. Only state. South, yes, because of the literacy, other multiple factors, used to lead in organ donations before 2018, 2019 maybe, but for the last 2019, 2020 stats, if you see, Maharashtra was the only state which was showing an increase in the number of organ donations. Anything else?
I have a question.
Yes.
Check. So, how do you deal with, say, religious-based, it's a very sensitive thing, but like organ donations, people, how do sensitive religious-based backgrounds come into play?
Okay, so see, that's what. I'm somebody who doesn't have to really go ahead and deal with it, to be very frank. But, so this is what we say. Let's say there is, so what you're asking is, so that is why this awareness programs are. So there will be beliefs that, you should not donate an organ, or if the body is not, the cremation or the end rites are not done with the whole body, they will not find peace, and so on. So those are the ideas behind the huge opposition. So what we tell people, especially when we do attend such awareness drives, that if you do intend to donate your organs, do let your near and dear ones know. Do let your next of kin know. Because if it is your choice, they would want to, support it, or they would want to make it come true. So first you need to be convinced, and then you can convince people around you. So if anybody of you, if you do go ahead and pledge your organs, it is very important. So let's say you have pledged your organs today, or if I have pledged my organs today, tomorrow if I meet an accident, that by default doesn't mean that my organs will be donated. Even if I have pledged my organs, my next of kin, my husband will have to consent to donate my organs. If he doesn't consent, my organs, despite me consenting to pledge my organs when the situation comes, will not be donated. So it is important that we talk to our near and dear ones. Yes, obviously, you need to be convinced first. But it will happen. I know it's not gonna happen in a day, but slowly and gradually, with increasing exposure and literacy, people are having a change of mind.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am. So, is there any organ that cannot be donated?
There are multiple. See, actually, I would say no. Everything can be donated. They may not come to use like we perceive organ donation, but when you fill a form, the entire body can be donated. Okay? But not all organs can be used to give another life. So liver can be used, so even if you, let's say, somebody comes forward and the family agrees, all of that happens. But even in those cases, it's not necessary that those organs are in the best of state to provide a meaningful life to another person. That has to be checked. But why we promote this or why we increase awareness is that at a general public level, you cannot understand whether your liver tomorrow will be of use or not. So if you pledge your organs, that can be screened at the next level, whether it is of use or not. And if it is not of use, ऐसा नहीं होता है कि it is taken and then discarded. If it is not of use, I mean, when the family does consent, when the situation arises and the family consents, there's a social worker who sits with the family and the form is filled. They consent to whatever organs they want to. It's not, let's say I consented to give my entire body. If a situation like that arises, my husband can then say, okay, no, I'm only ready to, donate the liver or donate the kidneys or donate just the eyes. That could still change. But donation happens for the entire body also. People donate their entire bodies.
Good evening, ma'am. Sad disease, in which condition organ donation cannot be done?
Besides?
Disease.
Disease. So, disease meaning, so everything is about, yes. So, if the person if this death is not, so most of the times, let's say if a patient has already, let's say if the patient has diabetes, okay, and he goes and meets trauma, has an accident and is declared brain dead. More often than not, the case could be that his kidneys will not be suitable for donation. Even if he has pledged his organs, he may still not be able to, like I said before, you can pledge your organs, but the fitness of the organ has to be ascertained at the next level. Or for example, pancreas. You cannot donate pancreas if you are already a diabetic patient. I mean, that pancreas is not of use. Even if you pledge your pancreas, or let's say today at 20 years of age, somebody pledges everything, liver, kidney, pancreas, brain, everything. And he meets an accident at the age of 60. At that point, maybe his kidneys are not fit for donation. Maybe his pancreas is not fit for donation. Even liver may not be fit for donation. But the question is, that's what I'm trying to say. That we don't decide on our own that, okay, iska to kuch kaam hi nahi hone wala hai, isse kuch nahi hone wala hai. The point is, if 10 people pledge today, maybe one extra organ will get generated. So we should not look at this ki, okay, there's no point of telling this to this person because he is never going to be able to donate. Maybe he goes and talks to 5 more people, explain them the importance of this, and they go ahead and donate. Yes.
Ma'am, I want to ask if the organ donation can be done in any hospital or there are designated centers in the hospital?
See, there are designated centers where the transplant happens. But let's say there is, let's say there is an organ available, or let's say there's a family who wants to donate organs of their near and dear ones in a center where the transplantation does not take place. Okay? They can still donate. The team from the transplant center will come and harvest organs, or if need be, the patient can be shifted to that center and the organ harvesting can happen. There are there are norms being put in place so that no organ goes wasted. So